Good morning. It's Sheeta, and I'm here with a special guest this week. We're here with Kiki. We're here with Kiki. Okay. Hi,
Hi.
friend. Okay. Everybody, Kiki is from the YouTube channel The Upgrade. And funny thing happened this week. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do or what I want to talk to y'all about, which really meant I had nothing on my mind. And I reached out to my followers on Instagram and I said, who should I have on my YouTube channel this weekend? And it was like Kiki. I was like, drop their at, and it was like the upgrade. And I was like, okay. And I didn't tell you this, Kiki, but like maybe an hour after I did that story, I got an email. There was an hour after I got that story, the admin that we have for Exodus Summit sent a photo of an email that was in our inbox, and it was someone else emailing me and Stephanie and saying we should both have you on our channel. And so I think the email came in before I made the ask, but I didn't see it until after I got the ask. And I was like, it's coming from all the directions. Like they are telling us from all the directions, which if you guys haven't seen our Instagram stories, you might not know this. Last week you did a video saying you wanted to be on our channel, on my channel and on Stephanie's channel.
Yes.
And it was in your manifesting video, which is why we're talking about manifesting today. You said they haven't reached out yet, but it's coming. And within like 7 days, I reached out because I needed ideas. Kiki's people heard her say, I want to be on the channel. So when I said I want someone to be on the channel, who should I have on the channel? They were like, the lady who just said, I want to be on the channel, right? Like they were like, I know who. And so it was, yes, it's Adeliza says that's the power of manifestation. And it is. It's the power of manifestation. It's the power of saying what you want. So, but something that we talk about frequently in Exodus Summit, I know Stephanie talks about it a lot, is that as Black women, we're kind of trained to, expected to, usually do, like keep what we want to ourselves. We keep it a secret, right? It's like, and another coach who says this, that like we're trained as kids that like when you have a birthday party, if you're blowing out the candles on the cake, you can't tell anyone what you want or it won't come true, right? So there's kind of this air of secrecy around the things that we desire. And I think for some people, it's like, if I say it and it never happens, and that's kind of, they feel like that might be embarrassing, but there's power in saying what you want and telling people, because then they can help you. They know what you're looking for. They can help you get there. So that was a really super long introduction. But hey, girl.
Hey, but that's such a valid point, because we have always been told to move in silence.
Yes.
If you don't move in silence, it's not going to happen because naysayers are going to ruin your plans. And I just don't believe that at all. I don't move in silence. I want people to know. And because I didn't move in silence, I'm here now.
You're here. Okay, so tell the people 3 things about you, people who don't know you.
Oh, I'm so boring. So that's number one. I'm a very plain person, simple person. Let's see what else. Oh, I love to read. That's something that I really like doing. It's really fun for me. And also, I am a mom. I don't know if everyone knows that, but I have a little boy. And yeah, so I don't talk about him much on my channel. But
okay, so tell us in a sentence or 2 what you've done in the past 6 months. How has life changed in the past 6 months?
Okay,
so you're boring, but we're not believing that. So come on.
So prior to quitting my job, which I quit last month. Oh, sorry.
Let's start there. Yeah.
Okay, so right before I quit, I went part-time. And so working part-time, it was really just a moment of, okay, it's nice to have your own time. You know, being able to leave, I was working 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., being able to leave early. You don't have to be in traffic on the way back, and you could do everything else you want to do. But I said, what if I had the whole day? So in my head, I knew that I was going to end up quitting because I wanted the full day to myself and just to wake up when I wanted to. But once I quit, you think in your head that you're going to do so many things and you have this bucket list of all the things you want to do. but you just want to sleep at first. You kind of just want to catch up on that rest and do nothing. And it's actually very difficult to do that. People don't know that. It's hard. We've been programmed for so long to be productive. And if you're not productive, you're lazy or, it's boredom. But it's really not. Sometimes you just need to relax, just rest, catch up on that.
Okay, so you like got there and then you skipped over it. Miss Ma'am is on a mini retirement.
Oh yeah.
She's on a sabbatical.
Yes.
She said, F that job. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I don't want to and what I love about your experience is how young you are doing it. Because you're
27. I can't believe it.
27, right? And you were like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in this anymore.
Right.
So I'm going to do what it takes to take a break. And you've been working on this for a couple of years, right?
Yes, like about 2.5.
Okay. So at 25, you were like, I need some time off.
I was done. It was just the routine. My job, I'm not going to say I'm a terrible employee, but I don't do much. I do the bare minimum. So I was just exhausted from the routine of having to, wake up early, clock in, act like I'm busy if I'm not busy, and it was just starting to become boring. And I knew I just needed a minute, because when you do that, you don't really know who you are. You have to, you've been programmed for so long since school days, to always be on a routine. So I just wanted to take time out to figure out, who is Kiki? What does she want to do?
Okay. And what were the last few years of your life like? Since you made the decision or thought about it and decided you want to do this to now, what have been the positive, like motivating factors in your life, and what's helped you further, and what are the things that kind of slowed you down?
I feel that some of the things that like really kept me going is it's not, I don't want to say it's positive, but it's kind of positive. Is especially with going part-time, I realized that I had more energy for my kid. I feel like clocking out of one job and then clocking into mom, it's a lot. And I was always exhausted. So I knew that I just wanted to, get that proper time out just for myself, so that when it was time to be a mom, I had the energy to do it.
Right.
I also would say, just over the years of planning, I started realizing that you really don't need as much money as you think you do, as long as you live below your means. And so I was doing that. And once I paid off my debt, I'm working 40 hours a week for what? I'm okay. I'm comfortable. By the time I got paid, the next paycheck was free. I'm house hacking. I live with families. So my expenses are very, very low. Some of the negatives, or the parts that, made me feel kind of bad, was when I did share what I was doing, people felt that because of my young age, I didn't deserve. You're not tired enough. Like, there's a competition,
right?
How tired I need to be in order to take a break. And that kind of made me feel bad sometimes, because I'm like, well, yeah, people will say, I've been working for 30 years. What you need a break for? And it's like, you really need a break. So why don't you take one too? Right. Everyone can do it.
Right. I will say that I took my break at 39, and I heard the same thing from people. So there's no age where someone with, I'm gonna call it right now, like a type personality, like someone who lacks generosity of spirit towards other people and who doesn't empathize with other people, there's no age where it's going to be okay for you to take a break. You could be 55 and they're going to be like, you should be working till you're 65, right? Like, there are some people who are never going to think you deserve it because they don't see it as possible for themselves. And if it can't be possible for them, why are you doing it? Or why are you trying to do it? So if you were 18, you'd have heard the same thing. If you were 45, you'd have heard the same thing. Like, that just, some people are just like that. Like, that is their energy. If I can't have it, why can you? Like, the people who were like, you're in your 40s. Why are you like, I've been working for 40 years and I've never taken a break.
You should. Think about
I'm
it.
tired just hearing like after I heard that sentence from you, I got tired.
Right?
Like you know you don't want to be out here working like this.
It's like they almost have like a battle of
Yes.
who well, you win because I'm gonna take a break. I need some sleep.
I need some sleep. I need
Got
some
it. You got it.
um how did your family respond to this?
Oh, my family, they know me. I quit jobs so much.
Mhm.
So I always had a new job. I was always in between jobs. And when I said I wanted to quit, it just didn't shock them because they're like, we know Kiki, yeah, she can do it.
Mhm.
They have a lot of faith in me. Um, some of my family, they don't understand it, which I get it. I'm 27, taking 6 months off. You have a kid. What are you doing? But it's just possible. So I think that a lot of my family now they're thinking to themselves, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. And a lot of them are thinking about taking a break.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
That's
good.
awesome. That's awesome. It's one of those things that I was having this conversation last night with a family who moved with their daughter who is going into her senior year. So
Hmm.
she was going, I guess, into the 11th grade when they moved from America to Puerto Vallarta.
Mm.
And like moving with a kid who's going to be like a junior in high school seems like it can be a really big, like a huge choice.
Yeah.
But they decided to do it after seeing other people do it.
Mhm.
And now that their family and friends have seen them do it, they see it as possible. So I always tell people that like the choices you're making might be hard and people might not understand them. But when they see you doing it and living their life, it's easier for them to understand. And it's easier
Right.
for them to say, oh, like I never really saw this as an option. But now that I've seen you do it, it doesn't seem like it's that hard, right? Like or
Exactly.
even like I'm not going to pretend that a lot of these things are easy, but it's possible, right?
Right.
Until you see someone do it, it seems kind of impossible. But when someone in your family, like one of your close friends does it, then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes I'm sure you got some people who were motivated by it and some people who were still like cannot get out of that kind of negative hole where they're like must be nice.
Oh, yeah. When I first quit my job, one of my coworkers called me and said, "Where are you?" And I told her, "I quit. I'm no longer there." And she said, "Oh, so you just wake up when you feel like it, huh? Must be nice." It
Yes,
is.
it is. It
I
is.
want everyone to do it. That's what people have to understand. So when I hear people say anything negative, I'm like, I wish this for you too. I hope that maybe right now you're a naysayer, maybe you have some doubts, but I hope one day you can do it too.
Mhm.
Everyone should.
Everyone should. Everyone should. It's really hard in America for us to kind of get out of the hamster wheel, to stop like believing that we talked about before, like producing something is where we get our inherent value from. And
Yeah.
it's hard to get out of that mindset because it's what comes at us at every angle for every
Right.
day. And so when you get out of it and people see that like you can walk away, and if you want to, you can walk back, right? If you want to, you can get another job. You can get another job, all right? Um, it they see possibilities for themselves. One thing that I remember from interviewing Mel Bailey, who lives in Atlanta, and she took a sabbatical with her husband. I think it was their plan was a year, but COVID, like the beginning of COVID, got in the way.
Mhm.
Um, when I asked her if she was scared about quitting her job, she was like, I didn't like that job. And I know I can always come back and get another job, but I don't like just as much. And it's like, you know what? Yes. Like, unless you really like, this is the thing for me, like, this is it. What are you holding on for? Right? Like, what are you?
Right. And
Oh,
another thing I noticed too is a lot of people feel that you have to be running away from something to take a break. It doesn't always have to be negative. I didn't hate my job. I mean,
mhm.
it was boring,
Right.
but I love my bosses. They were really nice. I love what I did because I really didn't do much. So it was a very easy job. It wasn't, this sabbatical for me wasn't necessarily escaping something I
Right.
hated. It made me feel a lot better because originally when I quit, I had another position that I was like, I have to leave because it's just too hard. I keep messing up. So I was running away. But this time to do it just because I wanted to. I just
Yes.
need a break. It's not, that bad. But I also feel like some people will say, oh, I like my job though. it's not, then you can always go back. It's not about not liking your job.
Right.
You don't have to take a
You
sabbatical.
don't have to. You don't have to. But that is a big reason that a lot of people take them. I think that because of what I was saying before, right? People thinking like being stuck in the mindset through no fault of your own, but like through the conditioning we get that the job you have is part of like how you're valued in society, right? It's really hard for people to leave jobs that they don't hate, right? Because what's on the other side that's going to be better, and some people can't envision that. But if you're tired, right, if you want to spend some time doing something else, now's the time, right? Like now's the time to start planning and start thinking about what those things are that you want to do and that you can do with your life that would make you happier and healthier.
Yes, for sure.
So yeah. All right, what would you tell people about your experience planning your sabbatical? Like, what would be like one takeaway from it that you want people to know?
The biggest takeaway, to be honest, now, have a plan of the things you want to do, because at least something that you know for sure you can do. Not, I want to start a garden or anything that's going to take a long time to do. I mean, that may be one thing, but a lot of the things on my list were things that were just so, I don't want to say outrageous, but I know me and I'm not going to do a lot of those things. So now I'm being a little bit more realistic, and I'm creating a whole new list of, trying new restaurants in Atlanta that I've never been to. Just have a plan of what you're going to do on your day to day, because you are going to have those moments of boredom. That's normal, but you want to just kind of keep yourself busy.
Okay. So what was on your original plan that when you look at it now, you're like, that's not realistic?
Take salsa classes.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that. I mean, I want to do it, but it's just, a lot of the classes here, they're just so late because, of course, everyone is working.
Right.
So they do it after everyone is out of work. So I don't really want to do that. I wanted to do something while my kid was in daycare. So now I didn't think about that though. So now I'm looking at other things. I wanted to, start working out. I've never worked out a day in my life. I just wanted to try it, but all it took was one day. And, so I wish I would have wrote more things that I actually I'm interested in already, instead of just random little things, like things that I don't mind doing. So now, like I said, I totally revamped my list. But I did have, to be honest, and I wanted to share this, the first week, I was a little bored because I was thinking to myself, did I make the right decision? I can't do something every day. That'll get expensive too, just going out every single day. But I did go through those moments of just trying to figure out what should I be doing. But now I'm learning to find peace in my home, learning to find things to do in the house, like starting on my book now, which I can't wait to share the title of that book. I'm going to tell you later, but I don't want to steal it. Just, reading more, learning more about myself, watching more motivational videos, just things to keep me going.
Okay. That's awesome. So you've been on your sabbatical for about a month now?
Yes, officially a month.
And you want to take another, like 5 more months on your break? That's your plan?
Yes.
Okay. So when you go back to work, or when you have a plan of going back to work, do you want to go back to the same thing, the same kind of thing you were doing before? I know you said you liked your job. You said no.
So I have been at my job for 5 years, and seeing that building, it just kind of makes me, I'm just ready to move on. I'm ready for something new. So for sure, when I start working again, which is why I'm only doing 6 months instead of a year, because I want to continue to work part-time for the rest of my life. I never want to have to go back full-time. So I don't want to drain my full savings.
Okay.
So yeah, but I plan on going back part-time. I would like to work at a hotel next.
Okay. All right. It's Atlanta. There seems to be a lot of hotels, right? So yeah. Okay. But I really like your plan for part-time, because it lets you know like how much money you're, like a ballpark, how much money you're going to have and how much money you need. You already know how much money you need for your living expenses. And so really thinking through that is nice. Because I think there are a lot of people, especially in our communities, who would be scared to acknowledge that, like, they don't want to work full time, right? Because people will judge them and say they're lazy or whatever. But like, I don't see the problem with working less. Like that's.
And I feel, especially if, I mean, just in general, because the biggest takeaway, I forgot, this is the biggest takeaway, is when you go places Monday through Thursday, early in the day, no one is there because everyone is at work. So to have that time and not have to ever wait in lines, when I go to restaurants, I could just go in and sit down. When I have to run errands, go to Walmart, Target, I'm the only one. It's so nice. And I feel that this system is set up to where everyone is on the same exact routine for the most part, 8 to 5, 9 to 5. If you take just that time away, even just doing that, like I say, going to Walmart and stuff and not having to wait forever and having a cart available, stuff like that just makes you feel good. I mean, I think that's why I say everyone needs a break. Everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talked about how your family responded. How did your friends respond? Same way, kind of?
Same way. They want to really do it too.
Okay.
But I think more from my friends, they just don't feel like it's possible to save. I was very extreme when it came to saving money. So when I would go out to brunch with my friends, I would only have a mimosa, eat before I left. And, I was very cheap, which was annoying for them, of course, because when you go out with your friends, they want you to enjoy yourself. But I just wanted to be around them, not necessarily spending all that money on food. And so stuff like that kind of was a little aggravating. When I would do trips with my friends, I wouldn't want to do all the things that they wanted to do just because I knew I wanted to quit my job. So I need to save my money for that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them just feel like it's out of reach. And I try to tell them that it's not. But most people, and I'm going to tell the truth, a lot of people say stuff about, the house hacking thing. They say they could never live with family, but that's a good way to leverage. Your home expenses are like the highest expense. So getting rid of that or cutting it into 3, 4, whatever, that makes such a difference. But a lot of people don't want roommates, which I understand. I totally get that.
So at the same time that your friends saw what you did when you were trying to save the money to do this, and they see that you've done it, but they don't think it's possible for themselves because they don't want to make the sacrifice.
Correct.
Is that what you think it is?
Right.
Okay. So
if I don't do what you did, then I know I can't do it. And it's like, well, if it's worth it to you, you'll do whatever. And that's how my mindset was. I would do anything to take a break. But yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What are the other things you did when you were saving money? I know you paid off all your debt. You saved your money for this. What were the other things? Like, tell some of the like extreme. Give me like 2 things you did that you're like, I probably shouldn't have done that when you were saving money.
Okay. My son is 5. I have never bought him a Christmas gift.
Okay.
People judge me, but y'all, I just feel like it's just consumerism. Christmas time is really about consumerism. But everyone else in the family gets him something. So it's just like,
you say that. So he wouldn't notice anyway. Like you don't know who it came from.
Right. And kids, they play with toys one week, drop it the next. But that's like one of the things that I just never did, and people didn't like that. Also, I'm gonna start now. But it just, well, I'm not gonna say that's really extreme. Okay, I will say what was extreme was all of my clothes that I've had since maybe middle school. I just kept wearing them. I wore almost the same outfit every week to work. I didn't care. Y'all are just gonna have to see me in the same outfit, but just not buying clothes and spending money on things because really no one cares. I mean, I hate to say that.
And no one notices.
No one notices.
And if they notice in you like that, they need some business of their own, right? Like
exactly. Exactly. But I wore the same clothes every week. People, I would say something about it myself, like, oh, I know y'all noticed that I wear the same outfits, but the same clothes that I've had since my first job, I still had them. I just now donated them. But like I said, you got to be strict, especially when you don't make a lot of money. You got to be realistic. Okay, I don't make a lot. I don't plan on making, any more from this job. They don't pay well. So you either can leave, get a better paying job, or you're going to have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can we talk numbers?
Yes.
Okay. I want to know how much you made, how much you saved, and how much debt you paid off.
Okay. So let's see. I was making about 35,000 a year.
Okay.
I had about $24,000 worth of debt.
Okay.
So I paid that off. But like I said, let me see, in the 2 years. So no, I had the balance in the 2 years that I was planning on aggressively paying off debt. The balance was 14,000.
Okay.
To pay off. And then as far as how much I saved, let's see, maybe my savings account would have been 20,000, but I talk about paying up my bills for the year, so that kind of dipped into it. So by the very end, I had about 16,000. Out of that 16,000, I put 10 aside for like an emergency savings. But then I don't want to say the wrong thing.
There's no wrong thing. If it's your truth, there's no wrong thing.
Having a big cushion for an emergency savings is literally just preparing yourself for a big emergency that may never happen. And I think it's a fear-based mindset. So I lowered that to 5.
Correct.
Okay, so I lowered that amount to 5, and then I took some money out to put aside for rent for the rest of the year, and then a little bit of that also just for spending money for the next 6 months.
What are your current monthly expenses?
Right now, I would say it ranges from about $650 to $700.
I'm laughing because, well, damn, that's a low number. Great job. But also, $750, like that's your $5,000 savings that's a lot of months. That's like 8 months of saving. It's between 6 and 8 months of savings if I'm doing any math correctly right now. And that's more than most people would tell you need to have. Like maybe you say like 3 months of living expenses saved. You have 6 to 7. So even at 10, you were way above what you need if you think of it as a multiplier of what you spend each month. If you think of it as just a number that you feel safe with, I say this all the time, there is no number. For people who are like, I need to have this amount of money before I can do X, like that number almost never comes true. That number is almost never enough in their brain, right? Like people are like, I need to save this much before I take a sabbatical. When they get closer, it's like, maybe I need a little bit more.
And please, people, don't do that, because that was me. When I originally started, I had the plan of saving about 35,000. Once I hit about 20, I said, okay, Kiki, you're going to keep trying to save more. Like I say, it's scary. Quitting your job, not having, well, I have a stream of income through YouTube, but I don't use it. My goal is to not touch that money all year. So I'm just pretending that money doesn't exist. Okay. Mm-hmm. But as far as when it comes to saving for your sabbatical, really sit down and find your freedom number. There is a number.
There is a number.
It may not be as much as you feel like it should be, but there is a number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's the number becomes more doable when you do the math. When you're like, oh, I don't have enough money, it's not enough, it'll never be enough money, right? Because you haven't done the math. You don't know but like if you can do the math and figure out what your living expenses are and what your living expenses can be, right? And how much money you actually have put away now, how much money you might have put away, how much money you can put away before your sabbatical starts. For most people, they're like, oh yeah, it's doable. Like maybe it'll take me a year longer than I expected, but before it felt like it was never possible, right? And so believing it's possible is the first step. Back to manifesting, right? Back to manifesting. Believing it's possible is the first step of making it happen. Because if you tell yourself it can't happen, you're not taking the steps to make it happen. You'll never take the steps to make it happen because you don't think it's possible. So,
and my favorite quote from Henry Ford is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's whichever one you believe the most.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to believe that it's possible. But if you go through those moments of doubts, like we mentioned, go ahead and write it down. You'll be shocked.
Right.
You'll be shocked at the numbers. It's not, life is not as expensive. well, you can get it to where it's not that expensive. You know what I mean?
If you make sacrifices.
You got to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I am a self-proclaimed maximalist. So there are things that like I like things. I like things, right? There are things I'm not willing to sacrifice. But I know, because I work with people about this every day, I'm giving them advice about how to take sabbaticals, how to budget, etc. That means that like I have to work a little harder, right?
Exactly.
Or I have to, you know what I mean? Like I have to make sure that there's a constant money flow because I have to buy shiny things, right? If I stopped telling myself that I needed to buy shiny things, I would need less money coming in.
Right.
And so figuring out how much money you actually need, like what is your bottom line, is one of the first steps of like getting to that freedom of making it happen.
And I love that you said that, because one thing I always tell people is I sacrificed, but it wasn't deprivation. The things that I didn't do, it was stuff that I could live without, but I could never live without going out to eat. Food is my thing. So I'm never gonna stop that. But I don't care about clothes. I don't care about jewelry. My nails, I can get press-ons. Certain things like that, that it's like, okay, if I don't have these things, I will be okay. But I wasn't going to lie to myself either. Like, it's certain things I do want. I didn't care about really having a new car. So I'm like, I'm not going to focus on that. So instead, pay off my car, use my money for other things. Be honest with yourself, because one thing, once you quit your job, you don't want to have you don't want to deprive yourself of the things you really want to do. You know, the whole point of this is to live your best life, you know?
Okay. And do you think you're living your best life right now?
Yes, I do nothing. You know, I feel that sometimes people feel like I'm going to be, you know, traveling and doing all these things. And then I realize I'm okay. I just want to watch TV. I watched the full season of Umbrella Academy in a day. Umbrella Academy, and just chilling out. And this is good enough. I think eventually I am going to probably travel a little bit more, but flights are so expensive right now.
Listen, as someone who travels a lot, I've just been like, I'll wait till you work out. Whatever's between the cancellations and losing luggage and all that stuff, I'm cool. I'm gonna sit right here. Right? Exactly. Where can I get on a bus too? Because I'm not getting on a flight.
Yeah, this is just it's crazy. How often do you interview people who, I feel like a lot of people in the sabbatical world, they go out of the country. How many people stay home? Is it a lot of people that stay home, or mostly leave?
A lot leave. A lot leave because they don't want to be in the US anymore. Okay. And because in a lot of places overseas, you can get a much better cost of living. But girl, they ain't beating $600 to $750 a month. So like they're not beating those numbers. I mean, yes, there's someone who's going to show up and be like, yes, my living expenses are only $500, but like it's a lot of people aren't. I would probably say like 80% of the people who leave on a sabbatical aren't hitting that low of a number. And so you are doing in the US what I would say a lot of people probably can't do, or don't have the resources to do. Because let's be real, like living with family is a bit of a privilege, right? Like there's a downside, but not everybody has family that would create a safe living environment, right? And so knowing that you can live with someone else, that's helpful. It's helpful to the finances, but some people just aren't ever going to be able to access that. Right. So, but I always tell people, like, if you have privileges, lean into them. Like, there's no reason to be like embarrassed or think that you can't do something because you have something that other people have or you don't want to talk about. No, like whatever privilege, listen, as Black women in America, whatever privilege you can get your hands on, use it. As long as you're not hurting somebody else, like use that privilege to get what you want out of life, right? You're not hurting anybody. You're not doing anything wrong. Like, do it. And so
for sure, Black women, I'm glad I can kind of say this because I don't really go there on my space. So this is really nice.
We're here. Do it.
Black women, we have been taught to, like us, of course, be strong, be independent. You know, girl boss movement is very popular, especially with my generation, you know, millennials. It's like, be a girl boss and have all of this and have all of that. But we don't really promote simple living. I feel that, Black girl luxury is a beautiful thing. I love it for some people, but what about the people who are not big on that? What about the people who can't live in the luxury apartments and all of those things? I knew in my head that in order for me to live a certain lifestyle, I'm going to need the help of my family. And luckily, I love my mom. That's my bestest friend in the world. And then my sister too. So it's been really nice to live with people. But I feel like in our culture, when we turn 18, we're told that we need to move out. We need to be independent. And that hurts us a lot of times, depending on where you're coming from, your background,
Right. And for a lot of people, there's no like transition or there's no like ramp up. It's like one day you're at home eating cereal and then going to high school. And the next day it's like, and now leave, right? Like, or like that, even if your parents aren't telling you that, there's the expectation from your friends and from other people that like, you're 18 now, go do something else. And it's like, I was 17 yesterday. Like just yesterday. Like there's no like halfway house for like those of us who are
middle point. It's just okay, you're 18, go out there and
and get into debt. Go out there and get into debt.
And you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know. So, I look at my son, and I'm learning so many things about like how they're supposed to lead. My goal is I want my son to have a credit score. I didn't even know that you can add authorized users. So many things I've learned from trial and error, but things we need to set our kids up with before they get out of the house. Don't just don't push them out yet. Make sure they have what they need. And I feel like in other cultures, because I was introduced to house hacking by a Hispanic man who his whole family moved from Mexico to his house and everyone shared a room. It was like one family in one room. And I said, I wish that we could do that more, but we don't talk about that a lot. And like we say, family issues, sometimes it's a lot of reasons of why we don't do it. But I definitely, if you can do it, and even if it's not with family, you can also go to places like there's certain websites where you can find a roommate. You just have to vet them properly.
Yes.
Please.
I watched that documentary on, it wasn't really a documentary, but a show on Netflix about like worst roommate ever. And I was like, somebody had to die. Like, I don't know. Like the man who like moved in and refused to pay rent and move out.
No.
I gotta call a cousin and be like,
something gotta happen.
Something gotta happen because this is not all right. But that is the risk that you, at least with family, like what you're getting. Good and bad, you know what you're getting. With like stranger roommates, it's kind of like you don't know. And then family is, without expecting too much from family, I know, but it's a much softer landing spot. Like you have a child, like you're probably more comfortable leaving your child with your mom if you have like an emergency you have to run out than with like a random roommate.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's really nice. You mentioned Black girl luxury before, and I'm so torn about it because yes, live that luxurious life. The background that I don't see people talking about a lot, and I wish there's more transparency around, is one, how much it costs to live that luxurious life. Two, like, where's that money coming from? Right? And not because it's my business, but if you're showing me all of your designer outfits and your trip, and these are all sponsored things, right? Like that, you're showing a lifestyle of consumerism without necessarily being a consumer, which is kind of like, I'm not gonna say it's misleading, but like, it's not giving all the information. And also, people don't really talk about how much work it is, like creating that content and like creating the look of like luxury, even if you're just taping like your every day and every day for you is luxurious, like you're still filming every day. Like that's like the amount of work that goes into that stuff isn't discussed. And it's like, you have luxury things, but does your life feel luxurious?
Exactly.
If you're doing all of this work, right?
Right.
And that's what I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, this is not like pointed at any one person because I don't know a lot of people in that lifestyle. But when I see it scroll through my screen, I'm like, girl, who filmed that? Who edited? Who did all that?
Well,
I know a lot of work went into that. And
yeah,
while you have these luxury things, does your life feel like a luxury? Because I don't want the luxury things as much as I want the luxury feeling. I
yeah,
want to feel luxurious. I want to get up and say, today I'm doing nothing.
right.
On the couch with my remote, right? And have
Exactly.
food delivered and have groceries delivered, right?
Because
That's what I want. I don't necessarily want the bags and the things.
right.
And so Black girl luxury is one of those things that I'm like, yes, get it, but also I have questions.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Right. It's like we don't know the backstory. And then I also feel that when it comes to, when I wake up in the morning with my Sheen $4 shirt on, I wake up in the morning and I wash my face and I drink my coffee and I'm thinking to myself, I'm rich. I really feel like this is luxury for me.
right.
And, if you feel that luxury to you is buying those items and stuff, more power to you.
Yes.
But for me, it just never made me feel full. When I would get that bag, because I tried it, trying to fit in, I went through that phase of trying to look the part, even though I wasn't the part. But it just put me in a lot of credit card debt. I couldn't afford it. So I do like. So what are your feelings about the soft living thing, the trend of that?
I don't really have strong. I think that telling me in a 30-second reel how soft your life is does not give me any value. It's not aspirational for me.
Okay. I agree.
Right? Like it's not aspirational for me because for it to be aspirational for me, I need to know more about you and see more about your life. And that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go digging into your past because I don't care. I'm not about to do all that scrolling. But it just means that, like, yes, you had a very lovely afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to have those. I want you to have, like, I want Black women to have soft lives. And I want us to be able to define soft lives as we individually do it. But because we all define it differently, other people's, like, soft life isn't necessarily like making me feel any kind of way. Because I'm like, yep, you create a reel.
Right. TikTok.
I just don't know. Like, I don't know. Are you really living a soft life, or is there, like, what's behind that? And it could be nothing but happiness and joy behind that, but I don't know. And so the internet and social media have created these platforms where people can create these narratives, right? They're creating narratives, and for some people it's 100% truth, and for some people it's 90% lie, right? Like, and I'm not going through to figure out which is which. I'm just like, yay for that experience for you.
Exactly.
And that's all I really can give it. I don't know. How do you feel?
I feel that right now, because of TikTok and social media, we are chasing an aesthetic instead of what we actually want. We want things to look a certain way because that's what we're taught to, it's this green drink that everyone is drinking. Matcha? Thank you. Everyone is drinking that same thing. So I was going through reels, looking up the soft girl, soft life thing, and everyone had the same. I'm like, y'all all drink. Does it taste good? Do we all like the same thing? I personally never had it, but it's just, is it an aesthetic that we're chasing, or are y'all genuinely living the life that you want to live? I also feel that when it comes to content creators, we have to mention that you do make money from content creating. So you saying that, oh, I don't have to work, and it's like, this is work. Being a content creator is work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And it's depending on how you create your content. Some people are creating a lot of fiction. Some people are creating a lot of fiction. And that is fine. But like we said, if I can't tell what is what, I'm not paying much attention to it. Like, if I don't know if I have not met you in person and, like, seen how you live your life, then I don't. Yay for that moment. But for me, it really is just, you had a moment, and I'm not putting more into it. But a lot of the content creators online now are like, luxury vacation, luxury vacation, luxury vacation. And it's all you ever see. And it's like, what's in between None of my business. Like I'm comfortable saying it's none of my business. I'm not going to try to chase it down. I'm not going to ask questions. I think asking people how they afford things is truly tacky, but I'm just like, I don't know how you do it. I don't really care how you do it, but I know that there's something in between the videos, and whether that's work, like a real job, whether that's working for a job or whether that's getting money through content creating or something else, there's something in between there.
Right.
It could be good, it could be bad. I don't know. I know you're showing me your highlight reel.
Exactly.
So,
and that's the truth. I noticed, I saw this YouTube video of people saying what they did to live the luxury lifestyles. And some of these women had 2 jobs. 2 jobs. That's exhausting. Yes, you live the luxury, but how often do you get to just enjoy it? And I'm not saying that people don't enjoy their work. Maybe their work is their luxury. But it's just, for me, thank you for letting me know that I may have to work 2 jobs, because now I know that's not the lifestyle for me.
Right. Right. But a lot of people aren't sharing that information, right? They're just like, look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me. And it's like, oh, okay. I see what you're showing me. That's fine.
Right.
It was funny. I saw a reel the other day from a woman, not Black, a woman who was in Mexico, and she was like, a day in my life in Mexico. And she went and she ate breakfast. And then she went to Starbucks for a matcha green drink. I don't know if it was tea. I don't know what, you know, Starbucks will like bastardize drinks. I don't know what it was, but she went to Starbucks and got a matcha something. And then she went shopping at Zara, and then she went to the pool. And I'm like, a day in your life in Mexico is Starbucks and Zara and the pool. Girl, you could have stayed in Tucson. Like, what is, I was like, what is this?
Exactly.
But like, it was very much like, look at a day of my life in Mexico.
Oh, it looks like, so good.
You went to Zara. Like, I knew it was Zara before she even showed us the bag. I was like, I looked at that rack and I was like, she went to Zara. Like, you really made a reel about going to Starbucks and going to Zara.
Oh my God.
Day of my life in Mexico. Baby, like this. But like, people are making content because content is paying, right? And so even when they're making nonsense, I'm gonna put that in the category of nonsense content. Even when they're making nonsense content, like, they're still doing it because the more they do it, the more they get paid.
Exactly. And people ask me now, can you do a day in your life? My life is boring, y'all. Y'all want to sit here and watch me watch Umbrella Academy, because that's all I do. I mean, like I say, I'm not really, I like just being home sometimes. And people, you know, sometimes you feel like you need to get up and go, especially because of TikTok. You see people getting up and starting their day at 7:30. And like I say, they go jogging in the morning. And it's like, I would love to be that girl, but I'm just not. When I wake up at 7:30 with my bonnet still on, take my son to daycare, and I come back home and I sleep till I'm ready to wake up. Then I see what I want to do for the day. I may do nothing. Sometimes I do something. But like I say, sometimes people are keeping busy or trying to make themselves look more active. I mean, everyone doesn't look like that.
I did a day and be life the other day because I knew it was the day that I like left home at 9 and got back almost midnight. So I knew I was going to be out all day. And so I was like, I'll give you a story of like, 'cause people ask all the time, like, what do I do? And the reason I did it that day is most of the days, it's like if I didn't like a day in life today, I am online now talking to you. When we're done, I'm about to lay on the couch and chill. And then at 7 p.m. my time, I'm doing coaching in my group coaching program. And that's it. That's it. Y'all don't want this day in the life. Y'all don't want this.
We don't want this.
I'm not leaving the apartment. I'm not leaving my front door today at all.
Right. Exactly. And it's just so real. I love that we're talking about this, because this is real life. You know, if you don't do anything, that's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's hard to, so you talked about this earlier, how in the first week, it was hard to feel like I'm doing nothing. I should be doing something. Like, and a lot of people that I work with, when they start a sabbatical, even if tell themselves they're going to do nothing, by the time the first week, 2, 3 tick around, they're like, I have to create something. I have to build a birdhouse. I've got to write my memoir. I've got to do this or that or this, because they feel like just being and not doing, like, there's no value in that. And I always tell them, like, there's value in just being yourself, doing the things you want to do, living your life. If you really want to write a book. Write a book, but it should be something that's been sitting on your soul, not just because I have time and I'm not doing anything else and I have to fill my time with something. For some
Yeah,
people feel like they have to fill their time with something, and that's how you end up having like 20 started projects that you haven't finished because you don't even want to do it. You don't even want to do it. You just want to do something with your time, right? And
oh my gosh,
so,
you just gave me therapy. You just gave me therapy. That's how I've been feeling.
is
I
it?
paint my deck. I don't know why. I just like I have to do something. But then I go through those moments and then later on I'm like, I love this. But you go back and forth. It's like, okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm not good. I should get a job.
Yes, it's normal. It's everyone. I felt like when I was on my break, when I was traveling, and I was probably like in month 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. If I didn't, there were days at a time where I just didn't feel like leaving. I was like in Madrid. I was like paying an Airbnb to be here because I wanted to explore Madrid. But for like 3 days, I didn't leave the place. Like I got food delivered, or I went downstairs to like the grocery store, and it felt like, is this depression? Like, why don't I want to like leave the house? What's going on? And I realized it wasn't that. I just like, I was tired. I've been traveling a bunch. I was tired. I wanted to rest, but I felt guilty about resting because I'm in Spain for the first time. And instead of seeing things, I'm just like seeing the walls of the Airbnb. But I had to give that up. I had to say, I had to own that it was okay to not do anything. So while I was traveling, I gave myself permission to spend like every other day inside doing nothing. So like if on Monday I might stay inside and do nothing, Tuesday I have to at least leave and go sit at a restaurant for dinner or go to do one thing. I have to at least like, I can't be in the house like 7 days in a row, but I can be in the house 1, maybe 2 days in a row and then like go do something else. Because at the same time, where like some people are fighting the urge to do all the things, other people, and I trended that way, were like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay, I didn't want to get on the couch. I just want to lay in this bed all day. And so I had to like balance that of like, I was super, super tired and didn't realize it. And my body was like, just lay down.
Right.
But it felt like depression. It wasn't, I realized afterwards it wasn't depression. I was just tired. But at the same time, I was like, I had to give myself permission to not, I had to like vocally give myself permission to not do things. Otherwise it was like, what's going on? What are you doing? What's happening? Yeah. Right?
I'm so glad that you are talking about this because I was a little nervous about doing this because I didn't want to make it sound that, oh, it's just exciting all of the time because it's not.
It's not. And that's something that I think, especially if you go traveling, your friends don't understand. Like my friends were like, oh, how can you not be having a great day? You're in Paris. And I'm like, people have problems in Paris, right?
Right.
Like things like who I am isn't changing because of where I am, right? Like if I'm stressed about something, I can get on a train and go to another city. The problem hasn't gone away. Like who you are comes with you. Who you are comes with you when you stay home. Who you are comes with you when you travel. And so just leaving a job isn't going to make everything rosy. But when you talk to people who are going to work, it's really hard to have that conversation.
Yes.
It's really hard to talk about the problems you're having or telling your friend that you're bored at home while they're on their way to work. Child, you can't do that.
You can't. I just did that last week.
How'd that go?
Oh yeah. Are you serious? I would rather be in your shoes than it's like, yeah, I get it. Cause I wanted to be here before. So I get it. But it's just, 5 days. No, when you go from 2 days to think about, okay, what am I going to do Saturday and Sunday?
Right.
7?
7 days. 7 days, Bill. 7 days. A lot. But I will tell you that you're a month in. The next 5 months are going to fly by. And then you're going to be like, I should have done, at the end of it, you're going to have like a list of things. You're like, I should have done this. But instead, I laid on the couch. And you're going to have to forgive yourself for that. I promise you at the end, like get your list and start doing things now, like actively planning to do things. Because if you're not actively planning it, your time will be over and you'll be like, I didn't do like half the stuff I wanted to do.
Right.
Because
And
it's easy to not, right?
I would say with it being a month, it flew by. I'm so glad I'm taking 6. It went by so fast.
Yes.
I needed this time, and I'm gonna use this time wisely. But 1 month flew by. If you can, for those who are listening, okay, a month may be a break for you. Try to shoot for more. You need that time because the first couple of weeks you have to reprogram. And then after that, you can live. That's what I'm saying. I'm slowly getting more comfortable and finding out what I want to do. And yeah, but you need time.
Yeah. It took a month for my body to get used to not being under the constant stress of work. Like I tell people this, it's no longer embarrassing. It's no longer TMI because I say it all the time. But like, it wasn't for a month before I started like pooping regularly. And I would wake up every morning and go to the bathroom. And I was like, wait, is this how my body's? I was like, after a while, it dawned on me, like, this is what's supposed to happen. Like, you're supposed to get up. Like that's what my body did naturally when the stress was gone. But when the stress was there, it would be like days, right? It'd be, I had to go to a doctor once, and he was like, you're full of shit. Like that pain you're feeling in your stomach is because you really, really, really need to poop. And I was like, but nothing's happening. Like there's no movement happening, sir. And he was like, he didn't say it, but after going on the break, I realized it was because I was so stressed, right? Like I'd go to get massages and they'd be like, you have a lot of stress. Like you carry all your stress right here. And I was like, that's why I'm here. Let's get some of it out. But when your body's under a constant stress, you don't know that these things are happening in your body because of constant stress, right? It's just like, I just didn't poop every day. Like I didn't even think about it. Like I ate vegetables. I did all the things. I didn't poop every day because I was like bound up by stress. It took a month after leaving my job before my body was like, we like it here. We like it here. We can every morning. You regular now.
Your body will tell you when
your body will tell you.
Yeah.
Your body will tell you. So that definitely told me that like, okay, like it took a month for my body to accept that I was on a break and that like I wasn't gonna have to go back into work the next morning. Like my brain got there quicker than my body did. My body was like, you sure? Are we really free? Are we? And so, yeah, it's a month. If all you can get is a month, take a month. But the longer you can get, take whatever amount of time you can get, because it takes a while to embody the like, I don't have to work. I can do whatever I want, but I don't have to do anything. Right. Exactly. So
yeah, my little sister took a sabbatical before me.
Really?
Crazy. Yeah. She just wanted to take a year with her baby.
Okay.
She told me that that's the same thing. She said about on the 6-month mark, that's when it was like, okay. But it did take her a minute to adjust, to not working and all of that, her body and everything.
Yep. I saw something in the comments that I wanted to talk about. What was it? Oh, any priesthood? I used to have to be a busy person, and baby, this current sabbatical I've been calling is calling the journey of ease. I've done a lot of nothing. I live in a high rise in the middle of Atlanta. Yes,
I love it.
Do it. Yeah, it's hard to accept that. If you've never thought about taking a break, it's hard to wrap your mind around it being possible. And it's hard to wrap your mind around like doing nothing, right? Especially if you're staying home. Because a lot of times people are like, if I'm going to take a break, I want to do this once in a lifetime experience and like trek across Tibet. But
oh yes,
me. You could sit down, or you could just sit down. You could just sit down.
That was so me. Yes, I agree with that. And then there's also those people who say, "Oh, if I was home all day, I would lose my mind." No, you wouldn't.
Or if I was home all day, I would be building a business. Like all those people who are subtly telling you what you should be doing when you're home all day, as opposed to being like, whatever you want to do sounds good. Like I tell people all the time, like, it doesn't matter what I think you should do. You should do what what your soul is calling you to do. And not when you're coming from like the busy. A lot of times when we're planning in the busy, right? Like I think you did a really good thing by having your list that you created while you were in the busy, and then reworking your list when you got to like the calm, when you got to like okay, I see what this really is, you decide to rework your list, which is helpful because what you think you want while you're in the busy is usually a lot more busy. It's usually like, here are 20 each day I'm going to get up and right? And then every week I'm gonna la 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 la. I was like, no.
No, I told y'all I wanted to work out. I've never worked out. I don't know why I put that on my list. I'm like, I'm gonna work out every day and I'm gonna get up and take walks, and it's just
no.
I'm okay.
Just being is enough. Just like you don't have to do, but we're not trained that that's ever okay. So I don't know. All right. Amber, hey Amber says it's hard to learn how to do nothing. I realize I don't really know what relaxing means. Yeah,
right.
Like it takes a while. It's a skill. I can now watch Netflix all day without doing anything, and I'm like, okay,
right.
But then there's some people who are like, every day is a golden opportunity to like live your best, and I'm like, sometimes laying on the couch all day is living my best life. It really is. It really is. Like, no, I'm not like writing a new Bible or starting a cult or you know what I mean? Like I am not doing these things, but I'm also like giving my body what it needs. I'm giving my body what it needs. I'm giving my brain a rest. I am just like, I'm just being, and that is enough.
And right? you deserve that.
Okay, Halisi from Our Black Utopia says hers was yoga every morning, hasn't happened. Been taking every morning, hasn't happened either. No.
I love that's so honest.
Your body wants to sleep every morning. Like, chill, take it easy. Like I love waking up and making my way to the kitchen and being like, what's in the fridge today? What are we doing? I'm not cooking, but what can I eat? Right? Like that's what I want to do. I don't want to like rush out and go do something else. Slow mornings are my way. Okay, Stephanie says on her sabbatical she was going to volunteer in 12 countries. She did 2 and was like, good enough.
Right. I feel it.
I feel it.
Oh, I feel it so much.
All right, let's see. How do you stop yourself from stressing when you're doing nothing because you feel like you should be doing something? What do you say?
How do I keep myself from stressing? Okay. I would say that we have to understand that a lot of things are out of habit because, like I said, we've been doing stuff for so long. I have no guilt at the fact that sometimes, you know, I do go through those stresses at times where I'm like, okay, I should be doing something. However, what I realize is that I have never really had my own time to figure out what I wanted to do. I have been controlled for years to do what I'm supposed to do and what I have to do. But then you have to figure out what you want to do, and you're not going to know until you get exposed to new things. So it's just don't feel bad about that. You know, don't stress out about that. How are you supposed to know? It's almost like, you know how when you turn 18 and everyone is telling you to pick a career, but I've been raising my hand to go to the bathroom all this time, and you want me to pick a job for the next 40 something years. It's the same thing. So now you've been doing this job all this time, and now it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do? You're going to be confused, and it's okay. This is just normal. You just have to accept things as normal.
Yes. And this is mental. Like when you start, you're going to be stressed. You just have to keep doing nothing more and more and more and more. And then you're going to be like, okay, this feels good. It's also letting yourself off the hook of your own expectations.
Yes.
Right? We set up a lot of expectations of what we're going to do, what we want to do, what we think. If I had the free time, I would do blah, blah, blah. Right? And that's fine to think. But when it comes down to doing, if that's not what you want to do, don't do it. Right? Because no one expects you to do it besides yourself.
Right.
Right. And so learning the things you like to do. So when I say this quite often, but one of the things I learned is that you don't really know who you are and what you actually like to do until you don't have to do anything and you get to fill your own time. Yes. Like I thought I loved happy hours with the girls. I did not love happy hours with the girls. I loved seeing the girls, right? Seeing my friends. I love getting together. And we got together at happy hour because we were tired from a long day at work. We felt like we needed or deserved a drink and all the food, right? And we wanted to get together to talk about anything, right? When I didn't have to fill that time, when I didn't have work that I was working around time wise, I'm never like, you know what I want? A happy hour. Never. In the past like 3 years have I been like, I really want to go to a happy hour because I can drink at 11 a.m. if I want to. Like if I want to drink, I'll get a drink. If I want to hang out with my friends, I hang out with my friends. But it's not like I really miss the like happy hours. I didn't love happy hour. That's where I could do the things I loved, my friends and alcohol, and fit it into my schedule, right? Like that's when it fit in. And it's this like concept that's been created, happy hour. After work, you go and meet up with your people and you drink. Yeah. There's nothing about that experience that I loved.
Right.
Like about happy hour as a concept. It was just, I like seeing my friends and we like to drink together.
Exactly. But you wouldn't have known that until you left. And that's why you can't stress about it. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And you don't know how I truly believe you don't know how you like spending your time, filling your time. Until you go from having 2 days to fill, or maybe even 3 days to fill, to having 7 days to fill. When you have 7 days and you can do whatever you want and you're not working around anybody else's time, then you're like, oh, okay. Like this is actually what I want to do and how I want to do it. And so that's why I'm always like, don't stress about how you're spending your time or how you're going to spend your time on your sabbatical. Do what feels right in the moment and forgive yourself for all the things you think you should be doing that you're not doing. Rip up the list, right? Just start from scratch. Make the list over when you have your free time and you have a better idea of the things you actually like to do, right? Because it's different. When you have to fill 7 days, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, y'all, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hey, new friends who followed Kiki here, go ahead and subscribe. I talk about sabbaticals all the time. I am a sabbatical and expat coach. I have a group coaching program called From Burnout to Bliss, FromBurnoutToBliss.co. And I co-run Exodus Summit with Stephanie Perry, which is a summit that we put on once a year in September for Black women who want to take sabbaticals, move abroad. We also run a Facebook group. Facebook group is at ExodusSummit.com/community for the Facebook group. And our newsletter is to get information about the summit, get our newsletter, which is at Exodus.com/newsletter. And I have all this information somewhere. I'm gonna put it out. But that's the info you need. So yeah, that's my info. So subscribe. I do this all the time. I have other special guests too. And if you're watching my channel and you haven't subscribed to Kiki's, her information is in the description. So you can follow her on Instagram and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Which, tell us about your YouTube channel. What is your goal on your YouTube channel?
Just to show people that you can live an exceptionally regular life. You don't have to be rich. Yeah. Yes, I just came up with that. But I think that's what it is. I want to show people like how to live a good life, how to change their relationship with money, and just become the best version of themselves without feeling like you have to be anything other than yourself, you know?
Okay. That's awesome. I'm gonna drop this here. An exceptionally regular life. I like that. How did you decide that this is what you wanted for yourself?
When you go on YouTube, especially like before I was introduced to you and the Stephanie Perrys of the world, first of all, it's just not a lot of us on this platform. It's hard to find. First of all, you got to kind of dig, but now it's a little bit more popular. But before, I felt pressured to be, the girl boss and the, whatever. But then when I would take courses on things, I'm like, this is not me. So where are the people who are just regular? Where are the people who don't want to be that? and they just want to live and they just kind of want to exist. So that's why I created my platform to talk to those people. And it's, 30,000 strong. I think I have like 30,000 subscribers now. So a lot of people feel how I feel, which I love it.
I'm with you. Pero, like, as you're trying to create kind of this regular life, you've made yourself very irregular.
Yeah. I know.
And so, like, do you think about that as you're like as you're creating content, as you're living your life? Do you think about the fact that like your goal of being regular ended up with you being very irregular?
I know. Someone else asked me that too, and I'm like, wow, that is a way to think about it. I don't know. I just felt that I had to get my voice out here, and it definitely put me in a different position in my life. However, my goal is to just stay. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I didn't think it would blow up like that. I honestly thought that, I would have a few people, but I didn't think that a lot of people would think how I think or feel how I feel. So when things started to blow up and now I'm like in a different place, I do sometimes feel, I don't know, weird about it. Not in a bad way, but just, it's like, why do people listen to me? It's like, I want y'all to listen to me, but then it's like, why me? Why so many? Like, why do people just feel so comfortable with me? I think it's because I just talk like how I'm talking to a friend, So, but yeah, I that is a good question.
It's because like when I see you, like you're 27, you've decided to not work for 6 months, you're not working for 6 months. And people, that's not regular, right? Like I went on a first date once and the guy asked me what I did for work. And I was like, I don't work. And like, he was like, so you're on disability? Like, so you're on an employee. Like he could like the idea of not working, like it is like he short circuited. And he was like, he's trying to get, and I'm like, no, I just don't work. Like it did not, it couldn't click. He finally like moved on to something else because it couldn't click through to him that like,
right.
I saved money and so now I don't work.
Right.
He was like, no, I don't. And that's what I mean when I say you're not regular, is that like, it's really hard for like the majority of our population to think about like voluntarily not working. Once again, it's a privileged place. Like
for sure,
who are not working are like, that's not a choice they're making, right? And so you're making a choice. And
I think what I'm trying to do is just change the norm.
Right.
Like what I'm doing is not normal. Of course, it is irregular. However, can we try to make this regular? Why can't this be the new norm? Why we have been told for years like we have to work until 65 and stuff, but the economy and everything is so different, but we haven't changed that rule. It's like you still work until 65 and wait on the pension and blah, blah, blah. But that just doesn't work. People want to live now. We have more access to social media. So we know that there's more to life. And I feel that I'm just acting on it. So it makes me irregular because of course we're stepping out of the matrix for the most part. Like we're unplugging from the matrix, but it's like, this should be normal. Like, this is not expensive. Like, why are we not told that we should take a break instead of, doing mini retirements instead of waiting until the end? And we don't know how long we're going to be here.
But for some people, that means I don't know how long I'm going to be here, so I have to hustle all day, all night, right? Sleep when you're dead, because I could be dead tomorrow. And it's like, well, what's going to happen? Like, what are you creating with the money?
Exactly.
That is going to make a significant difference if you're dead, right?
Exactly.
Especially some people are killing themselves at work, like they're working themselves to death. But the idea that like we're not going to live forever, so you got to hustle really hard right now, just confuses me, because I'm like, but what? Like, even if you have children, even if you have dependents, like get yourself some life insurance.
Thank you.
Take a break.
Thank you. I keep telling people that people always throw up the generational wealth thing. You got a kid, you got to think about, I have a house. Okay, I want to mention this. Me having a house or anyone buying a home, you have already changed the trajectory of your life. Like, your life has changed. You are already a step ahead. So now I bought my house at 165,000. It is currently worth about 2 something. The house next door just sold for 3 something. That means when Kason, my little boy, turns 30, he can sell the house and he'll be set for the rest of his life. It's simple things. It doesn't always require you to be a millionaire or the next Jeff Bezos for generational wealth. Like generational mindset too, changing the mindset. I grew up poor. My son is not going to know what that life is like. You know what I mean? He's not going to go through the things I went through. Already, I broke a generational curse. I give myself credit for that. We have to start looking at the small things we can do. You don't always have to be here. I don't know. That's just how I feel. But
yeah, no, it's important. It's important. And buying your house is huge. Congrats. Was that challenging? Was it challenging to buy a house knowing you wanted to take a sabbatical?
I didn't want to buy a house. What ended up happening was I didn't make 3 times the rent anywhere. And I have my mom and my sister with me. So it's like, they were like, oh, well, you can't get an apartment, so buy a house, which is weird. But I ended up getting a grant because I was low income, and they had a program here called the Georgia Dream Program. So I went and got that, and I got the house, and I paid $116.
Sorry, what?
I paid $116 for my house. See, and that's the thing about being in alignment, y'all.
Sorry, no. She's saying numbers, y'all, but I think she's making them up. So tell us.
$116, and my sister just gave it to me. It was $116 to close on my house. That's all I came out of pocket with. They covered everything else.
No down payment?
Nope. They did that. They did a down payment and closing. All I had to do was the escrow, which was, I think, $1,000, but the closing cost was $116. So I paid in all $1,116 for the actual cost of the house. So compared to what it really was, which was about 15, I think, in total, but they covered it. The Georgia Dream Program covered it. I just made the decision to buy a house, and everything just started falling into place. Yep.
Georgia, I'm sure a lot of states have programs like this that people don't know about.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's get back to manifesting. You said you were in alignment. So tell us about how this happened.
So let me say, when it comes to manifestation, it's not that you're going outside of yourself. What I really think manifestation is aligning yourself with what was going to happen anyway.
Okay.
You were destined for it. But when you get that feeling that, okay, I'm ready for this, then you can just start, doing things to get yourself prepared for that thing. So when it came to buying my house, I didn't want to buy a house. And then we started shopping at when the pandemic first happened, and it was crazy. And a lot of people were rejecting our offers because, of course, cash buyers are kicking us out. But we got lucky. And I was just hoping and praying. I said, I know that my house is coming. I know I want a yard. I want this, I want that. And I wanted a basement. So I would write that down every single day until I finally found this house. And then I got it.
Okay. All right. You got the exact house you wanted, right?
The exact house.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow is all I can say. You really were in alignment, and you believe in focusing on the things that you want in a positive way to I would say invite them into your life, right? Is that true?
Yes. Okay. Correct.
Okay. What else would you say that you've manifested?
A better relationship with my son. I used to write about that because, being a mom, it's tough sometimes. And I was going through a phase of just feeling like I wasn't a good mom. So I worked on that. I used to script about that, just, making more time for him and doing more with him, especially when I was working full time. I manifested my subscribers, not the 30,000, but every time I'll be like, okay, I'm going to get to 1,000. I'm going to get to 10. And now it's just flowing. I've manifested just, retiring early, my sabbatical. I wrote down, now don't get me wrong, have I changed my dates a million times? Yes, but I would still write it down on paper, and talking about it as if it already happened. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I just put in my resignation. So my last day is on so and so and so, talking about the emotions. I'm so excited. I'm so happy I can finally do blah, blah, blah. And it happened.
Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing. What would you tell people who want to learn how to start manifesting the things they want, or who are a little like, I don't know about this, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what would the church say? What would you tell?
I get that a lot.
What would you say to them?
I would say, first of all, like learn to get wishing and hoping out of your vocabulary. And
Okay.
just like I say, speak it as if it already happened. That's the number one thing. And also just listening to people who like the pros at this. Like I love Bob Proctor. He's one of my favorites. Abraham Hicks. I listen to a lot of Jim Rohn, even though he doesn't really stress manifesting, but in a way he does. And just like I say, believing it, don't get too attached, because the things that are for you are going to happen regardless. Do not get too attached. Don't stress over it, because then it won't happen. You have to let it go and release it.
Okay. All right. And you feel like you're letting go and you're releasing now?
Yes, I do. I just really, and it's just because I'm so confident that it is going to happen. Just like with this interview, I was like, I know that I'm going to meet her and we're going to go on live one day. I just knew. I scripted about this too.
A week later, here we go. That's so wild to me, because I was like, I hadn't seen your manifestation video. I hadn't seen it, and you, like, you said it and it happened, and you I still believe that, like, saying it is half the battle, right? Saying that, like, and not being afraid to say it to other people. Because I remember I saw someone in a comment saying that, like, you can't tell it to everybody because there'll be naysayers, and I'm like, no, you say it to everybody and you ignore the naysayers.
Yeah,
say it to everybody.
Who are they? I care more about the love and support than I do the naysayers, because you have to understand that people are talking from their own reality. Mm-hmm. Realistically, the things that you're saying you're going to do, they truly don't believe they can. And I respect that, because maybe they can't. But I don't let it get to me. It's not that they're coming against you or they think less of you. It's just, it doesn't make sense to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard for people to understand things they have not seen before. Right. Exactly. It's really hard for you to believe in things that you haven't seen happen. And they probably haven't seen a 27-year-old Black woman say, like, I'm not gonna work. Right. I'm not going to just not work because I'm lazy or because right. Like, although I think there's nothing wrong with being lazy.
Nothing wrong with
and the way we frame it now in society is problematic, but you're not just like, nah. You're like, I made a plan. And this is what most people miss, is like, you didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm quitting my job and staying home. You spent 2 years preparing for the moment. You spent all that time preparing and saving and paying off debt so that you would be in the position to do what you wanted, how you wanted. Exactly. And that's the step that most people miss. They're like, how come you can just quit your job? Like your coworker, like, you can wake up anytime you want, must be nice. And she's like, she didn't see you drinking that one mimosa where your friends were eating, right? She was probably doing excursions on trips with her friends.
Exactly.
Because she made different choices than you did. And her choice isn't wrong. Your choice isn't wrong.
Right.
But like, you say what you want, you claim what you want, but you also do the work to get what you want. You have to do the work to get it. And you did the work to get it. And most people see the outcome and dismiss the work that goes into it. So right. how can you do that? Because I sacrificed for 2 years.
Exactly.
Right? Like I made the choice to do this and I did it.
It's just that simple. And what I try to stress to people is that, someone said that they don't like that I use manifest because it's work that's involved too. But the universe doesn't cater to hard work and hard work alone. I know too many hardworking people that's not happy. Way too many. I know so many people who put in blood, sweat, and tears, and they're not where they want to be in life. Mm-hmm. So that's not the secret. I think that we just put more emphasis on that, like work hard, and then you're going to be able to. And a lot of people don't. My mom is one of the hardest working women in this world. And I'm not trying to tell her business, but she retired with little to nothing. So all that hard work, you know, and I feel like after all that hard work, she deserves to do everything you want to do. But sometimes you don't know how to plan properly, blah, blah, blah. So it's like just having faith that, okay, I have faith in this thing, but then I'm also going to do this too to get to that thing. You have to have both. You can't just have faith with no work, and you can't just do work without having faith in something either.
Right. Stephanie said, you know, people you share your dreams with, you need new people. And it's true.
Yes.
It's true.
I feel like people, you know, a lot of people don't like me. There are a lot of people who bash me for my decisions, my life decisions, and whatever. If their words or their feelings had that much power, I would have failed. I wouldn't be here today.
Are these people who know you, or are these like random people online?
Randoms online. It's always them. You know, it's usually the people who don't have that much access to you. You know, they couldn't call you and say, I have an issue with you, but they can comment, DM you.
And it is, people will say really, really negative things about you online, or like about your choices. And it comes from their own fears. Like they're scared of what their life will end up like. And it has nothing to do with you, but they're projecting all of their negativity on you. And it's kind of like, okay. And a lot of times, like, this comes up a lot, right? I was talking about money online, and some guy, I say this a lot, hey, new friends, it's always a man. It's always a man. But some man showed up talking about how I was going to lose all my money and be broke. And I was like, first of all, why would you wish that on someone else? Because you're a hater. Okay. Like there's no other reason to say that online. You could think it, right? But like, why would you say that on my YouTube channel? Okay, cool. But like, even if I did, I've been broke before, right? Like,
I already know what.
If I did, I've been broke. Like what? I have been broke before.
Yes.
And so when I talk to people in my sabbatical coaching, I get people all the time who are like, I'm afraid of running out of money. And I'm like, if you run out of money, you'll go back to work. The work that you don't want to be doing right now. So like, you might be able to stop working, take a break, and go back to work voluntarily. Or maybe you stop working, run out of money, and have to go back earlier. Either way, you got a break. But if you don't make that choice at all, you don't get any break. You don't get a 3-month break. You don't get a 6-month break. You don't get a year break. Because you don't have this faith in yourself and how you're going to manage your money. You're scared to take a break because you might run out. You go back to work. If I run out of money, I go back to work. So, sir, sitting at your desk at work, not working and talking shit about me, I might run out of money. Okay.
Right. And that's why you can't listen to people. You just can't, because I have that a lot. People say, well, what's going to happen when you run out of money? I'm never going to run out of money, first of all, because of the simple fact that I live below my means. I act my wage. And that's what people don't like. I don't life. Everybody like, oh, you broke. Technically, if you Google my income, I am kind of like, from what they say, I am broke. And I act my wage. So I'm always going to be okay. Like even now, the fact that I'm able to live off of the money that I saved in the past 2 years and not touch my YouTube income, I'm already ahead of the game. I'm going to be okay.
Yes.
But you have to believe that you're going to be okay too. And like I say, someone said, if I took off 6 months, I would be broke. That is true for you, brother man, but that's not for me.
Yes.
You know, I make sure to set myself up. That people think that, and that's going back to what you was talking about when you said like being a regular. You have to be a regular. If you want to be regular, keep doing what you're doing and being unhappy, because realistically, that's most people's situation. They're not happy. They're not living the life they want to live. But if you want to be different, you're going to have to be different. That's just that.
That is what it is. But also those people who are speaking negatively into your life, whether they're people you know or whether you don't know, you gotta learn to ignore them. I'm like, why are you projecting your poverty onto me? Like, and that might not be like money poverty, but it's definitely mental poverty. Like you don't believe you can have nice things, and so you're telling me I'm going to be broke.
Right. That's not me. That's not my reality. But thank you. Thank you for caring. But you have to, when you go through your accounts, I want you to look at all your bills and see who pays them. If it's you, nothing else should matter. I could care less. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but when people come to me and they're like, oh, you, this is that, and they're like trying to tell me what to do, I pay my own bills. But if you want to contribute, I might listen. But since
Probably not, but I'll still take the money.
I still take the money.
I'll
I'll take the money, but you just can't listen to people. Like, this is your own life, you know, and don't have that lack mindset going into anything like this either. Don't feel that, oh, I might run out. That's negative. You'll never, you got to believe that you'll never run out. You just got to plan properly. You know, that's
like I say all the time, like I got to where I am because I'm a good steward of money, and I believe that I'm going to continue being a good steward of money. And that's why I have faith that I'm not going to run out of money, right? Like I know what it costs to be me, right? I know what it costs to be. It's not $600 a month. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you that, girl. I know what it costs to be me.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to pay that cost to be me because I like my life, right?
Oh, I love that.
But I also know that if I want it, it's mine. I firmly believe that if I want something, it's mine. And so it's just, how quickly will it be mine?
Exactly.
How quickly will it be mine?
Exactly.
Right? So people speaking negatively about my life, about anything I do, people being in the business more than they should. It's just like, that's a you issue, and you should work out your issue. Try therapy. Don't try me. Like truly, like that's not, we ain't got to.
I agree.
Because like you're busy manifesting the best stuff possible into your life, and they're busy being in your shit.
Exactly.
When they too could be out there manifesting the best stuff in their life, but that's not what they're interested in.
Exactly. Like it, and I had to tell someone one time, like, you don't get a W-2 from me, so I don't need you minding my business. I don't pay you. So don't worry about it. I'm going to be all right. Sometimes people definitely overstep, but more than anything, I get more, and like I say, it's more fear-based when they say things. They don't say, oh, you're stupid or anything like that. It's just, now, why would you do that? And you're only 27. What you going to do about 65? I'm a smart girl. I know I come off a little, but I'm a smart girl. I know what I'm talking about.
If you can afford to take a break at 27, you're gonna be all right at 65.
I'm gonna be all right. I'm not worried.
And I think at 65, right? But because other people aren't, they don't think you can be, right? Mm-hmm. Because they didn't take a break at any point in their life. They don't think you deserve a break. And that's where we started in the beginning. It's like people don't think it's possible if they didn't do it or they couldn't do it. While watching you do something, while they are actually watching you do something, they are telling you it's not possible to do. And it's like,
yeah,
your life don't sound like it's filled with love and joy. I'm just telling you that right now. You online writing hateful comments. It does not sound like you're living a life of joy. Just FYI, right? Because they will literally watch you do something and tell you like, can't be done.
It can't be done. And it can be. You got to believe it.
You got to believe it. You got to believe it to achieve it. Like it really is believing it and then like working and walking and working in that direction, right? Like you got to keep your eye on what you want and keep working towards it. Whether that's early retirement, whether that's mini retirement, whatever that is. If it's moving abroad, because a lot of people in the group who are watching want to move abroad, like whatever that is, set the goal and work towards it, right? Set the goal, believe it's possible, work towards it. Because if you don't do that, there's like, what are the chances? Exactly. Right?
You got to try. And like I say, if you're leaving a situation that you don't like that anyway, then you're not taking a loss. I said that, okay, if I quit this job, this is it. So I can get another job.
Mm-hmm. I can get another job. If the stock market goes to zero and I lose all my money, I can get another job. Exactly. But also, like, I want to tell people things like, if the stock market goes to zero and I lose all my money, there are bigger issues in the world. right?
Yes.
If I lose all of my money in the stock market, there are bigger issues in the world than like jobs. Probably ain't no jobs for anybody, right? Like if all the money goes away and all the bubbles burst, there are large, we are in an economic crisis, right?
Yeah.
That like nobody's job is safe. So let's not, right? Like don't wish that on me, because if it happens, that happens to me, some bad shit's happening to you too. Just FYI, right? Like don't. We're all together in this like ecosystem, right? Like we're all here.
Yeah.
Good things can happen to us, to me, without a bad thing happening to you, right? A good thing might happen to me and it might lead to a good thing happening to you. But if a bad thing happens to me, don't think that's going to mean a good thing for you. Like there's no reason to wish on my downfall, because that gets you nothing positive.
Right. I don't know why people spew that out. And like I say, the criticism too, people talk down to me because, I'm young. They're like, well, you need to make sure I know. I read books. Okay. I
didn't just decide one day.
Right. I thought about this.
Right.
So I think that you just have to like keep a defense up. And like I say, when people are talking to me and they're saying all these negative things, I just let them talk, because at the end of the day, like I say, it's really them just venting.
Right.
I don't care. I mean, thank you for sharing, but it doesn't affect me. It doesn't make or break me. So I just let them vent. So when they're going off, because I keep in mind, I worked until I'm just like, really? You did? Oh, goodness gracious. That's your business.
It's your business. And like, don't you want more for other people? No, you don't? Okay.
Exactly.
It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad for you that you don't want more for other people. But yeah, so being regular while creating an irregular life creates a visibility, and it sets you apart. I must just say, it sets you apart from the people who are probably most like you, right? Like the people who started watching your channel to see, there are probably some people who started watching your channel to see if you could do it. And now that you've done it, they're like, I'm not interested anymore. Right.
Right.
Because they didn't think it was going to happen. They didn't think it was going to happen. But there are other people who will always see you as motivation, right? And see you and say, I didn't even think of this. I never even thought about this idea until I saw Kiki do it. And now I know it's possible because I've seen one person do it. And so you're motivating people at the same time. Some people, I don't know what the opposite of motivation is, but like that's where they are. But other people you're motivating to say like, oh, okay, if Kiki can do it, I can figure out how to do it too.
Exactly.
Especially because you show people, like you tell people very clearly what you did. So,
right. And I think that, I will be content, because right now we are in the irregular crew. But when people can stop saying Sheeta's on the loose, Stephanie Perry, we shouldn't be able to name, it shouldn't only be 10 of us.
Right.
It should be thousands of us. You know what I mean? Like this shouldn't be look what they did. This is slowly becoming a norm. That's why I'm so grateful for, you, Picky Girl Travels the World, and all of these platforms showing people that we can all do it. We can all do it. We needed that, but this should be the new norm. Okay. This should be the new norm.
It should be. And it can be, but like, it doesn't happen if you keep what you're doing a secret.
Exactly.
Right? So if you didn't have your channel, there are thousands of people who would have never realized this is a possibility. So for everyone, I know sometimes these conversations can be hard, but for everyone going to take a sabbatical, take a mini retirement, doing something that isn't very visible, the more visible you can make it, the more you can inspire other people, right? And yes, the haters will come, but like,
yeah, they're gonna always be there, no matter if you did good or bad,
right? Like you can spot them from a mile away, because it's that like poverty mindset of like, and the lack of generosity of spirit, where we're not gonna talk about them, but like the people you're motivating are the ones that are there for you, and the reason that like it's worth having a channel, and it's worth being public with the choices you make, even if they separate you from regular people.
Yeah. And someone asked me one time, they said, how can you say that you're opting out of the American dream and all of these things when, you're doing something like, something like this, having my voice heard and things like that? But I feel like it is important that we have the regular, regular people who are just like us talking about these things,
Mm-hmm.
because, it makes it more possible. I always felt so out of place when I'm around, no shade to entrepreneurs, but I just was like, this ain't me. I feel so out of place. Like, this is what they love, this is what they do, but this is not me. I'm more of a lazy person. I like chilling. So, we need more people speaking on these things. And I think that, like I say, when I can finally, like maybe in 2025, when it's a lot more people, moving across the country and everyone's saving up for a sabbatical. It's so many people saying that I helped them and that you've helped them. And, oh, I love Stephanie Perry because she's helped them. We need this. We have to speak on these things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of the American dream, I had someone tell me, like, how can you say anything bad about the American dream when the American dream is what gave you all the things you have? And I'm like, gave me?
Ooh.
The American dream gave me things? They just hand it. Like, if y'all don't understand how America and the American dream holds back Black women and gives us exchanges, the value exchange is so much lower for us. We're giving so much more than we're actually getting. Like, don't come around here talking about what the American dream has given me. Like, I ain't work my ass off for like 1/3 of what I should actually have.
Right.
And so, but it's probably a man. It's probably a white man who does not understand that, like, yes, you may have been given things by the American dream, but some of us had to fight the American dream for the things we have. And some of us are tired of fighting. Like, what's the payoff?
What I realized, I remember one time I walked into this one like financial institution to, do a transfer or whatever. And they had all of the board members of the institution, like, very successful people. When I saw that it was white man, white man, white man, white man, black man, white man, white man, white. This system wasn't set up for me. And I'm not trying to, and they're still talking about the first Black CEOs, the first Black president. We got a lot of work to do. But instead of, and I'm not saying that the people who are working towards those things, we need you too. So those who are striving to be great, we need you too. But I'm a fallback. I'm gonna let y'all handle it, because it's so much harder for us. It just is, as a woman, first of all, but then a Black woman to put the cherry on top. It's not as easy for us to get certain opportunities. And that's just the truth. Even from our name, if our name is too ghetto, quote unquote, and hard to pronounce, we miss out on opportunities just from that. So yeah, it's tough for us.
Yeah, it's tough for us, and it's also like, it's hard for other people to see how bad it is. And so they don't understand. Like, they don't understand that, like, my paycheck is less than 2/3 of what your paycheck is for the same. Right. So maybe I don't love working as much as you do. Right. Like, maybe lazy is not necessarily a product of who I am, but my response to being worked to death for a whole lot of nothing. Right. And so I never feel bad for doing things that people don't understand, because you haven't walked in my shoes, right? Like, you walk in my shoes and you understand how I feel, or you might not, right? You don't have to. Like, nothing about, to your point earlier, you're not paying my bills. Nothing about my life has to make sense to you. And if it doesn't make sense, you can always just scroll past.
It's that simple.
I promise you can just scroll past. But if it does make sense and you want to stick around and you want to see how I did it, that's why I'm here. Like, I have a channel because I want other Black women to take breaks, right? I want other Black women to take breaks. And so I have a channel talking about how I did it and how they can do it too, right? And I am here for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody can watch. But I'm specifically here for Black women because I know, as a Black woman, how much harder our life is, right? How much harder our life is than other people, just by inherently being someone who presents as a Black female. And because of that, I'm a ride for us every day, right? And so you can be here riding with me, or not.
Yeah. And sometimes on my platform, because I've tried to be open to everyone, sometimes people get a little offended when I even bring up me being a Black woman or things that we go through as Black women, or even when I just talk about women in general, whether Black, white, Hispanic. It's like, well, men too, me too.
I don't care.
It's like,
I don't
I'm
care.
talking to, I can only speak as a Black woman. And I think people have to understand that I can't talk for a man. I can't talk for a Caucasian woman or an Asian woman. I can't speak for them. I can only speak as me. So I want everyone to feel safe on my platform, but understand my perspective is a little different.
And
That's
I think that some people have no problem because they consider their position universal. They have no problem speaking to everybody. So why, if there are white men out there speaking about how society should be in general, like this is how life is, like they don't understand why you're speaking specifically for Black women, because they have no problem speaking for everybody, right?
Correct.
They have no problem saying like this is life for everybody, and ignoring all the people that doesn't relate to. Whereas you're like, this is my specific experience. I can only speak for myself. And I can extrapolate a bit to other people who look like me, because I know I can speak to Black women because I spend my life speaking to Black women, right? Like my friends, for the most part, are Black women. And so I know our experience. I can't speak for white men because I don't know what y'all doing, because I don't be kicking it with y'all.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
Like, it's just,
I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a couple of y'all that I like, but it's like a couple that right? Like I don't know your life experience, and I will not try to speak for your life experience, and I appreciate it if you didn't try to speak for mine too, right? Like let's have that mutual respect of like, you speak to your experience, I'll speak to mine. And like if you are watching this channel as a man and you get something out of it, great.
Yeah.
As a man, if you try to center yourself on my channel in my comments, you want to hit that block real quick, because like it's a channel for Black women.
Yeah.
Anybody else can watch. Anybody else can do whatever they want. You want to comment, cool. You start centering, white women come in here, start centering themselves. I'm like, that's not what this is. And the fact that some people can't stand not being the center of a conversation is not a me problem. And that's, I would say, as someone, when you make this irregular decision, that's something you have to get really good at knowing, is like, oh, that's not a me problem. Like when you decide to like walk away from what everybody else is doing and people start projecting their ideas onto you, you really have to have those boundaries and say like, oh, that's you. Yeah. That's you. Take it to God, take it to your therapist, take it to your mama. Don't bring it to me. Like that's a you thing. It's not a me thing. Right. And no matter how many times you say it, you're not going to make it a me thing.
Exactly.
And if you're uncomfortable with Black women speaking to each other, that's a you thing.
That's a you thing, for sure. And like I say, everyone is welcome. Come on. I love, a lot of my supporters. It's so mixed. I have so many people from all over commenting, and I'm so grateful for them. And a lot of them, they never, like when I speak about Black women or anything, they don't say anything. It's the ones that's like usually their first time coming on my channel.
Yes.
Always.
The strangers.
Strangers.
Stephanie had a good point. Do they comment on white men's channels about why they're excluding Black women? If not, they're concerned about inclusivity or a lie. Yeah. They cannot handle not being the center of attention. The people who come in and do that cannot handle not being the center of attention. As Black women, we are used to not being the center of attention, right? We're used to being excluded from we're used to there being no inclusivity, right? Where we might not be like specifically excluded, but our concerns and thoughts aren't included in the conversation, in anything. And so it's just this is a me space. Exactly. It's my space. This is my space, right? It's my space 2.0 or 3.0 by now. Like it's okay. It's okay if every conversation in the world does not revolve around you.
It really is. And like I say, I remember, and the reason why I knew it was totally different and that I have to kind of watch what I say is because I had a friend who was like, you know what, I think I'm going to take a couple of months off from work. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing the same thing. But she had money from her parents to buy her first house. We both bought a house around the same time. Her parents were able to do a down payment. It's a class thing too at times. I'm not saying that Black people don't have that same thing where they have parents paying, but for the most part, it's like, oh wow, I cannot relate to that. Like, I could not just go to my parents and say, I'm buying a house, can you do my down payment? I had to figure something out. So when I talk from my point of view, it's about my past and who I am, being a Black woman in the workspace. I can only talk about me. You're welcome. Just don't make it about you. Please don't, because I'm hide user from channel real quick.
But I think I've seen the comments in our channel. I know that you get a lot of like really supportive people.
Yes.
That's the way to be. Honestly, like if you want good things to happen in your life, you have to find other people who are doing the things you want to happen to you and support them. Right? Mm-hmm. You can't want to take a sabbatical while hating on people who are taking sabbaticals.
Exactly.
I promise you that's not going to work, right? Like you might look at someone who's not doing it your way. If you don't like what they're doing, scroll, right? Mm-hmm. Scroll until you find the person that is doing what you want to do in a way that moves you. Mm-hmm. Subscribe to them. Follow them. Let that be part of your manifestation. Looking at someone else win in the way you want to win and like following what they do, listening to them. But hating on people who aren't doing things the way you want to do, or they're not speaking the way you want them to speak, or they did it differently than you think you would do it, even though you haven't done it yet. That's not the way to manifest anything positive into your life. That is not the way to get anything nice. Right? Like find whoever that is. If it's not me, if you came from Kiki's channel today and you're like, but I don't like that girl Roshida, I promise you do not subscribe, because I'm gonna be me on every channel. every time you see me, every video, I'm gonna be me. So if you don't like me, it's best that you keep it moving and find the people you like. Follow the people you like. Let that be a part of your manifestation plan, right?
And sometimes what we do, as an ex-hater of people who I used to go on social media and she probably not even happy with that life. She, trying to find a negative. I had to sit with myself and say, why does this bother me so much? It's because I want it. But to make it negative, it makes it easier to not manifest, because it's like, well, everything is not what it's cracked up to be on social media. Stop making excuses. If you know you want a certain life for yourself, don't lie to yourself. And if it bothers you, unfollow. I had to unfollow a couple of people on Instagram because I just, like I say, the hater in me was mad. I'm like, I can't stand to see it because I don't think I could do it.
Right.
You have to get to a point where it's like, you know what, this is possible for me. I can do it. And then you'll learn to be more open and receptive to those people.
Yeah. That's a really great insight, is that like there are probably people you're subscribed to on YouTube right now, or you follow them on IG, and every time you see a post, you're like, ugh. Unsubscribe, unfollow. Even if they're your friends, just mute them on all the channels. You can just mute them, right? So you don't see their stuff. I got a whole number of people muted. You're my friend, but I don't want to see your stuff.
But I love you.
I like you as a person. I'm here to support you. Just not like, I don't like the way you, there are people that like in real life, I think, like I've had a relationship with this person, but I don't like the way you communicate on social media. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just going to mute you so I don't see it, because getting online and feeling like, over and over again, that's not adding anything positive to your journey
at all. So. And same with, like right now, I had to unsubscribe to the relationships thing because I'm ready for my man. Mm-hmm. But I don't like seeing them happy couples right now. It's just,
okay, but maybe you need to find a happy couple that makes you feel good.
Exactly. And that's what I'm doing now. But I'm honest with myself. I don't lie to myself. It bothers me sometimes.
It does. But like, I think that, I'm going to say it again. I think that I struggle with so there's some of the like dating advice. I have a friend. Hey girl. I don't think she watches my channel, so she won't see this. But I have a friend who's always sending me like those reels or TikToks that are like dating advice. And I'm always like, I'll see the cover and I'm like, is it a man with a microphone? Don't send it. Do not send me a reel of a man talking into a microphone about I don't want it.
Yeah.
I do not want dating advice from men. I don't want dating advice from anybody. I don't want to get into men and women shit. That's not where I am in my life. Right. And so I literally be like, I'll respond to her with, I'm not watching that. And like, sometimes like, I'm not going to watch this. No. It's a man with a microphone. I'm not into it.
No.
I can say it so many times and she still don't hear me. I'm not into relationship advice. Like, it could be a woman. I don't care. I'm not into it. I'm not into it. And so I also find I struggle with like couples as well when I see them, because you really have to like both people. Yeah. You really like when you're watching couples together, you have to feel to like for it to go into like my man, like I don't say like, oh, couple goals, because like we said before, you never know what's happening behind the scene. Exactly. But for it to even look remotely attractive to me, your relationship to look attractive, I have to like what I hear when both of you open your mouths. And that is rare on the internet these days.
It is. It really is. And I think that the whole, movement about being submissive and all these things that people talk about, it's just so corny. I had to like unplug from that too. It's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah. And so I feel like the good thing about social media is it really helps you if you pay attention to your feelings, right? If you pay attention to your inner hater and like what lights you up, it's really easy to find things that you love that you never knew you love, and find things that you're like, oh, this is making me uncomfortable. And like maybe dig into, if you want to, dig into why it's making you uncomfortable, right? Be real with yourself and kind of like dig a little bit deeper past past that initial like, oh, what's happening here? Like dig into why that made you feel like that. You can really learn a lot about yourself. But most of the content that is pushed to us is all the same thing. Yeah. It's all.
It really is. It's all the same thing. Like I say, you just delete TikTok for a while. For the people who are watching, delete TikTok for a while. Don't, if you see something, that's talking about something that you're not in the mental space to really take that on, unsubscribe. But I feel that you have to be honest. I am very brutally honest with myself. And that has allowed me to live a happier life because I know me. And I know when things are triggering me. I don't like seeing Black girl luxury, because at this time with this budget,
that's not.
Yeah, going to Puerto Rico on boats and stuff. It doesn't make me mad. I love seeing my Black women doing that, but it's like, that's not my reality. And I know I can't do it right now. So let me go ahead and just unfollow, because it does make me feel some type of way, but that's okay. And I had to realize that, we got a lot of toxic positivity where people are acting like you shouldn't be, sometimes I feel like as long as you don't do anything negative with it, but you will sometimes feel a slight jealousy about certain things. Yes. It's human nature.
And sometimes it's not that you can't have that thing. It's that you've never made that thing happen for yourself. Like every time I see someone on a yacht, I'm like, I want to do that. But when I go to a beach vacation, am I renting a yacht? No, I'm not.
No.
I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to do it. I'm not the planner, right? So I'm not doing that.
Exactly.
I'm not doing that. Right. And so is it something I could have? Yes. Is it something that I'm doing the work to have? No. And so I have to own that about myself, right? Like I have to own that like you don't hang out on private yachts because that's work you're not like, you don't want it enough to make it happen for yourself, right? So like, so why do you feel any kind of way about seeing someone else do it if you don't want it enough to make it happen for yourself?
Yeah, that's me. I realize when I see those women posting the 2 Range Rovers outside and the big old mansion, and you put just a little bit more, and you're gonna see, I work 3 businesses, 5 degrees, 7 kids. Oh, you got it, girl. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let me unfollow you right quick, because no, ma'am. Like I just unless I hit the lottery, it's not gonna happen.
No, ma'am. Like you have to like know that about yourself and be okay with it, right?
Right.
You have to be okay saying like, I too could have 2 Range Rovers if I work like for me, it might take working from her. Maybe it doesn't, right? Maybe she has 2 Range Rovers because she hit the lotto or like she's manifested big piles of cash for herself. Good for her. But for me, as of today, I would have to work 80 hours a week, right? Maybe that's what it is for you, for any of us. And to being able to say that, like, I'm not mad that she has it. And I'm not mad at that I don't want to work enough to get it, right? But like recognizing that that's the gap, that like, and it's not that like it's always hard work, right, that gets you what you want. But for some of us, it is. Like, I do not want to work hard. And so I don't work hard money, right?
I love it.
I have more money if I worked harder. Yes. Is that an exchange I'm willing to do? Absolutely not.
Right.
Not at this point in my life. Maybe years from now, but not now.
And it's people that tell me my spending budget is about $800 a month, and people say, "Well, that's not enough." It's enough
for who?
It's enough for me.
But like also like, why would anyone? It goes back to what I said before. People will watch you doing it and watch you do it and say it's not possible. Like, they are watching you do the thing, and their response is to say it can't be done.
Right.
Can't. I also hear can't be done. Like, right. You're commenting on me doing it by telling me it's impossible, or that I'm lying.
Oh, that's it. Yep. Like,
you shouldn't watch a channel. Like, just
go away. It'll make you feel better.
Right. Like, if other people's choices make you feel negatively, unsubscribe. Like, get that out of your life, because that is not, back to the point of this video, that is not getting you to the best place in your life.
Know
right?
yourself.
That's holding you back.
Right. I had a man comment recently and said, "I feel that you should be teaching people how to work hard to get with it. The universe doesn't cater to hard work for me." You know, my hardest job that I've ever had was KFC. I was at 725. I was slipping and sliding, buttering biscuits, making coleslaw. I would leave with my legs sore. And I made maybe $80 a week. I was part-time. To now sitting on my behind all day. That just goes to show, stop thinking hard work is it. It's not. It's not the key. It's not the secret sauce. Like I say, I live a good life. It is so simple, and I still make income without having to hustle and bustle.
Right. Right. It's just people come at you from where they are, and you are come at people from where you are. And so figuring out how to get yourself in the best place and in a place where you can receive, because that's never a problem with Black women. Specifically, and I know a lot of people are going to have this too. I'm speaking specifically to Black women here. We don't know how to receive.
No.
And that is problematic. Like, if you do not know how to receive, things are not going to head your way. Like, you have to be open to asking for help.
Yes.
Getting help.
Yes.
And knowing when someone offers you help, that it's okay to accept it. A lot of us have been burned. Like, oh, she said she was going to do something and then she didn't do it. That means that you can't trust that one person. Or like, in that situation, it means that person didn't come through. It doesn't mean they're not a trustworthy person. I'm not going to say that. But it does mean, it doesn't mean that someone else isn't going to help you in the future.
Right.
Right.
Being open, and then being open to just like I say, you know, Black women, I think we're some of the hardest working women in the world. And to me, like, you know, and I hate to say this, and I kind of feel weird saying this, but it was this one lady in my neighborhood when I used to live in a pretty decent neighborhood. And every morning she would jog and she would just jog around. And it was like, and I would be headed to school. I would come back home. She would be doing some project outside of her house. And it's like, how do you have so much time? I always idolized the people who did the least. Like, she seemed so happy and at peace. She was fit, but she wasn't hustling and bustling. So I knew that, you know, you not being a hustler or you not doing so much, you could live a peaceful life that way too. You know, I don't have to be the 5-degree girl. I wasn't going to do that. I dropped out of college after one semester, half the semester. So I knew that I'm not going to be that certain Black woman. And that's why I also wanted to start my platform to show Black women we can be kind of like the women who just, you know, chill too. We can go to all the PTA meetings and all that stuff, because right now, you know, growing up, a lot of the Black moms didn't come to a lot of the events at school. I want to be that mom. It's little things like that that's going to make me feel like I'm living a luxury lifestyle.
Yeah.
I might not have the Mercedes Benz pulling up, but my old little Honda, it's going to do.
It's gonna do. It's gonna do, right? Especially because you ain't got to go to work. You ain't got to fill it up every other day,
Yes.
right? Like, you're not driving. You're not like, if you drive your car to work, it's sitting there for 8 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
and then you drive home and go to sleep. It's sitting there for 8 hours a day.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, I say this is someone who love nice cars. I love nice things, but I recognize that like how much I have made choices in my life to live the life I want, and nice cars are not a priority for me.
Same.
Like the next thing I'm manifesting is a driver who comes with a vehicle of his own. Right? Like that's one of the things I want. It's on my vision board for the year. I want a driver who comes with a vehicle of his own. But it's not an everyday thing, but like a schlepping home from Costco in an Uber with all the things I bought, all the 17 bags of things I bought for the next month, like, and it's heavy, and I gotta get out the Uber in the front and take it up the stairs, and then take it up the. No, I want a driver to drive me to the
Love
other
it.
store, right? Like in the garage, and that's what I'm manifesting because I don't want to drive. I don't want a car. But I know that about me. That's what I want. And so every time I see the big Yukons out there, I'm like, yes, with the drivers. Yes,
Right.
that's what mama wants right there. As opposed to being like, how come they get to do that? When I was working full time, if I got like a day off or I had to run an errand in the middle of the day, if I we had this outdoor shopping mall. So sometimes I'd end up there in the middle of the day for no reason. But I'd be like, how come all these women are here? Don't they work? Like, first of all, but it came from a place of like negativity. Like, why is all y'all out here? Like, what? Don't y'all do stuff? And now I'm the person in the mall in the middle of the day. Like, no, I don't.
Yes, it's so it's so funny, like, because I live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of retirees, like, people who are retired, and so I'll go to a bar, and then it'll be all the retired folk, and they're like, "Why are you not in school?" Because first of all, people think I'm younger than I am, but they're like, "What are you doing here?" And anytime I tell someone that I'm not working, it's automatically, "You hit the lottery?" Or, "Are you married? Somebody taking care of you?" No, it's not that hard to do. And like you was talking about with the driver and stuff, those luxuries are not that expensive because like even having a cleaner is not expensive. Like how you would think. It's so out of reach. We don't even think to look and see
To
how much.
look, do the math, call around, find out what the prices are, and then figure it out. Like, and figure out like, okay, if I can't afford it today, the way life is, can I make more money? Right? Can I spend less money to get the thing that I want? Like, to get the thing that I want, how do I fill the gap? This gap right here. It's making more money or spending less money. What you gonna do?
Boom.
What you gonna do?
People, I would never say I worked hard to get here. I didn't. It's like just planning. It's not that people plan to fail, it's that they fail to plan. It's just you got to have a plan or else you will fail. But it was just so easy. It was effortless. Like money was just coming in. Then we kept getting stimulus checks. I'm like, look at this. Tax money coming in. It was so easy. I wish I could say that, I had to hustle. I was just tired of working, but it wasn't a very hard thing to do because once your mind is made up, it'll flow effortlessly because you're aligned. That's what you want to do.
And so I want to push back on that a bit and say that yes, I'm agreeing in a different way. It was easy once you made up your mind, because if that stimulus check money had come in and you weren't planning on doing it, you'd have blown it on something, right?
Exactly.
You'd have blown it on, you would have been paying off debt. You would have been like, oh, let me go take a vacation or do something, or you know what I mean? Like, you would have had the excursions. You would have been at brunch balling out, right, with your girls. You have to make the decision first that this thing is a priority for this thing to happen in your life, right? Because that stimulus check, the tax return, they're going to get spent. They're going to get spent anyway, right? What are you spending them on? If you have not made the choice of where you want your money to go, the money going to leak out your pocket. You're going to be like, where'd it go? Where'd that money go? Right? And so, yes, it was easy once you made up your mind. But if the same circumstances happened and you hadn't made up your mind,
Oh yeah.
right?
I was struggling. I was living check to check. Nothing changed. You
Mm-mm.
know, nothing changed. Like it was literally, I'm gonna go ahead and retire soon. Boom. Life just started flowing. It wasn't as hard. You know, working wasn't as hard because it was like I saw that another thing, seeing the end, knowing
Mm-hmm.
that the end is near. When you just working and you don't know when it's gonna stop, it's like, oh, another day. But when
Yeah.
it's like 3 more months, 5 more months,
When you pick your end date, it's so much easier because it's like y'all can say whatever you want to me.
right.
I'll be gone in a month, right? Like you don't even have to say it. You just know, like, oh, you messing with me? That's fine. It's
Right.
fine. Because like I don't care what it says on the next review.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't care about anything.
They were criticizing me at my job saying, well, you need to. I was like, knowing that y'all ain't gonna see me much longer. Let me get out y'all way since I'm so annoying.
You know, I like this.
Yeah.
Would you like me to train my replacement?
Right. Like,
would you? Okay.
And tread lightly. You have the upper hand when you have that FU money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, watch what you say to me because I'll walk out right now. I'm not scared. I got my money. Don't be like that, y'all. But I'm just saying.
Do what y'all got to do to make it through the days. I'm going to tell y'all, do what you got to do.
Right.
To make it through the days. Because when I knew my time was coming up at work, I was like, will I? Oh, you're calling me on my cell? I'm not answering that.
Right.
Is that a text? Y'all shouldn't have this number. No way. Bye.
Right.
Right. Like your boundaries get real strong when you're like, we got 30 more days of this. You're going to fire me my 30 days? You're not going to do that. And if you do.
Go ahead. My bags are packed.
Can I listen? So yeah, I think the summary of us all is like focus. Oh, and if you haven't watched your manifestation video, I'm gonna drop a link to that because it's really good. Your manifestation video is really, really good. So let me find that and drop it in the chat. Come on, don't do this. Copy link address. Let's see if this works. Yes, y'all need to watch this.
Yeah.
Trying to spell, but spelling while talking is not my special skill. Okay, I'm also going to drop it in the description because you talk about how you manifested the things that you want and the tips and the tools. So we're not going to repeat that here, but you should watch it. What haven't we covered that you want to cover before we wrap things up?
I think we covered everything. I mean, I really enjoyed this. I think we brought up so many points that I didn't even think we would talk about. So
yay. Good. All right, friends, if you have not subscribed to Kiki's channel, do that now. If you haven't given this video a thumbs up, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Don't be a hater. It's not good energy. It's not good energy. It's not truly like the energy you put out is the energy you receive. So if you're going around all day, and this is not people, if you did not like this video, don't give it a thumbs up.
Right.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that like what you give to the universe is what you get back from the universe.
For sure.
Right? And so if you're walking around all day hating on people, your life is going to look kind of sucky.
Yeah.
And the more your life sucks, the more you're going to hate on people. Exactly. Try some positivity. Like it doesn't have, if you're not feeling it, if it's toxic positivity and you're not feeling it, don't do it.
Don't do it. Yes.
Don't do it. Be true to yourself, but find more inspirational people. Find people who are doing things you want to do the way you want to do them. And they talk about things the way that you like talking about things. There are people in the sabbatical space that I'm like, no, I can't watch your stuff, girl. Because I don't like the way you talk to people. Other people are going to love it, right? Everything is not for everybody. Everything is not for everybody. So you don't have to like everybody. You don't have to love everybody. You don't have to watch everybody. If you're like, if I see her move her hand again, I'm gonna freak out. Press the X button and get out of this video right now, right? Like that's right. I'm a hand talker. So what we gonna do, right? Find your people. Find the people that light you up and follow them, and let that be the first step in manifestation. I'm telling all this. I don't normally tell y'all like what you need to do in your life, but I'm gonna tell you this: if you see somebody doing something, and you show up, talking about it's impossible. Rethink your day.
Right.
Rethink your entire. Don't write the comment. If you're like this can't be done, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, they might be lying to you about their life, but why? If you think they're lying to you about their life, just block them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow them.
Right.
Because if this is this person's truth and your response to their truth is it's impossible, you're telling yourself it won't happen for you.
Exactly.
You're telling yourself it won't happen for you, and that is not the way to get anything. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to hit anybody up saying it can't be done.
Right.
If we truly think they're bullshitting, we're just going to block them, unfollow them, unsubscribe, and move on to someone else who we think is doing it, and it has been possible for them. If you think someone's lying, get them out of your life. But coming up to someone else, especially if they really are doing it and being like it's impossible, it's just bad juju. That's not good energy
at all.
Kiki, you can't live on $800 a month. It's not possible.
Right.
It's not possible, girl. Right? Like
easy. Like I say, just make up your mind, have a budget, and you gotta know that's the key. Having a budget, write it down.
Having a budget. Anything you want to do, you have to look at the numbers first.
Exactly.
Like nothing. My break felt impossible. Taking a year off felt impossible until I looked at my thingy and I was like, oh, I could take like 10 years off. Mm-hmm. But I never thought it because I never looked at. It wasn't a possibility. And then I was like, I always knew the numbers in my accounts, but I never looked at them through the lens of, can I take time off? Right. Yeah. And when I figured out how much it would cost a year to take time off for me, I figured out how much it would cost a year to take time off. And when I looked at the numbers, I was like, oh, it never felt possible because I never considered it. It never felt possible because I never asked the question. When I asked the question, I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. Might I end up one day without money? In the wide world of possibilities? Possibly.
Yeah.
Unlikely, right? Because I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with money. So it's unlikely that I don't believe personally that I'm going to get to a point where I'm like, poverty, this is getting uncomfortable, right? Because of what I've done so far and how I believe I've been a good steward of money. But if it were to happen, I'll be okay. So if you're thinking about taking a break, do the math, figure out what it is. If you're scared you might go broke, you have to believe in yourself more than that. And even if the worst case, a lot of people have like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Every once in a while I hear like, what if my family is sick? So what if like someone dies while I'm abroad? I was like, my dad died while I was abroad. I came home for his funeral. Like me not leaving the US was not going to keep him from dying.
Right.
Right? Like that man, his time was ticking, right? And like me sticking around wouldn't have changed that. Right. It wouldn't have made his quality of life any better because I wasn't going to live with him, right? Like those things would not have changed. And so if you have a worst case scenario, right? Like play it out. What if that actually happens?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, what if you can't get a job in 6 months? You still have money.
Right.
Right? You have all that YouTube money you're not touching. Or because you've set up your life like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have this like cushion, right? Mm-hmm. You'll be good.
Exactly.
And so those are the things that people say all the time, like, I can't afford it, or I'm going to lose money, or I won't get a job. And it's like, probably not, but what if?
Right. Just try it. I mean, it's worth a shot. What can you lose?
What can you lose?
Picky Girl Travels the World just said something that Paula Pant from the Afford Anything podcast, she always says, you can afford anything. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just not everything. And I live by that. So it's going to be some things that you're not going to be able to do. I'm not going to go on a trip every month to, I'm ready to go to Mexico one day. But right now with my budget, I can't. But that's okay. But understand that you won't be able to do everything. But the things, just prioritizing what's more important to you. That's the key.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yay to you for prioritizing.
Yes, this was so fun. I'm just so grateful that you reached out after all my support.
Your people were like, get her on the channel. Get her on. I was like, oh, okay.
I love that.
Oh, and you said it too. Let's talk about it. there were like 3 people who showed up like me. I should be on your channel, and you're one of the people. And
Yep.
that, like, if you hadn't said it, I don't know if, like, I reached out to you super public because I knew you wanted it, right? Even before I saw your video, you said me. And so a lot of times people will like ask questions like, who should I put? And people don't put themselves forward because they're shy about doing that.
Oh, don't be shy. You still, what can you lose? The worst thing you do is say no.
Listen. And a no, if I had said no to you, you'd be in the same spot you were yesterday. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, you weren't on my channel yesterday. It would have been the same thing.
Right.
But you said you, a bunch of other people said you. I got an email. It was like, the universe was like, y'all go together now. Right? And so what am I going to tell the universe? But okay. All right.
I love
sure.
that.
And so thank you for being here. I think people really got a lot out of this. And so I'm super, super happy for you.
Thank you.
And someone asked what your $800 a month covers, but you talk about that on your channel, right?
I can. I think I need to do a video on that.
Okay. All right. I think that'd be really helpful for people to see like how you built this life, how this possibility is, because when you hear the number, it doesn't sound possible, but people aren't looking at the work you've done and the sacrifices you've made to make that happen. So
right. This is great.
I'm excited. I'm excited. So thank you so much for being here. And I will talk to you next time.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.